Hello, everybody, and welcome to DM Writer's Room, a show where we demystify the DMing process by coming up with monsters, magic items, dungeons, settings, one-page RPGs, and about 1,000 other things live with you. We are still deep in the trenches of coming up with the many deities and their creations in the world of Gaslight. We know that there are 10 gods with 10 beings that they made. Humans got chucked in the bin, whoopsie-daisy style. If you want to know what that means, go back and watch the other video. I do not have time to explain. Humans were made by the eldest god, and then we have dwarves, changelings, elves, and hobgoblins and goblins, who are two faces of the same coin. They are both made by the same god, who was cut, whose head was lopped off of his body by the eldest brother, and who is now sort of a twin god, a twin divinity, a head that sprouted arms and legs that is the god of the goblins, and a body with a face sprouted out of its chest that is the god of the hobgoblins. And they are a sort of lovable duo. But today we need to crack down and figure out that last couple of details. Spencer demanded hovering crabmen, and thankfully Michael and I managed to talk him off of the bridge, get him down onto ground level, and so we're going to do crabmen
temporarily.
And then we're going to do the people that hover. So it's going to be back-to-back, relatively chaotic still, but we're going to see how it sort of shapes up. So here's what we know about crabmen so far. They have this natural armor. They live underwater, but they can comfortably leave and go above ground for long. Like, they need to sleep in water, I think we thought was funny. Like, they need to submerge themselves in water every few days. How true that ends up being as we work out the logistics of play, well, we'll see. And all we know other than that is the underwater world is extremely harsh. It is a harsh and drastic place. And so the crabmen are kind of Klingon adjacent. They are a warrior people who from birth are trained in the ways of glorious combat. And so crabmen mercenaries are a coveted thing. So number one, we need to probably change the name from crabmen. Unless we're going full Flash Gordon Hawkmen and we just want to commit to the bit. But if not, we should probably throw the name generator at them. And then we need to figure out a little bit more about crabman society, and then the great god of the crabs, of course. So that's sort of what we have up to bat before we have to wade hip deep into hover people and whatever the hell that means. And ideally crush like 3 more today. So let's see what we're doing. We got to get up and get rolling. We got no time to waste. So the crabmen. What is crabman civilization like? Are we full send Sparta? Like, is every crab child raised on the battlefield? And it is meeting a crab person who is not a warrior. Is that the exceptional thing? Is meeting a crab person that's farms kelp? Are you like, whoa, there's like 9 of them?
Gotta have some. First of all, I like crabmen. I think that's funny because it implies that the crabs existed first and this god made like sentient conscious beings modeled after the crabs or even from the crab. I think that's kind of interesting. So they're crabmen because the crabs were something that were extant under the rule of the first god, and then the crabmen were made.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you think that, and I think that that's really valid in the space, and I couldn't possibly disagree more.
Yeah.
I think we need to, for my money, we give them a name that sounds kind of like chitin, and we call it a day. We call them the Chiteron, and we sort of hang a hat on it. I'm willing to write on the note page Crabmen / Chiteron, and maybe that's maybe everybody else is like, oh, you mean the Crabmen?
Here's my counter. We can call them the Carsoni. That's play off of Carsonization, which is everything becoming crab.
That's fun.
I like, let's say Carsoni formal, and I'm willing to say that only they call themselves that.
Yeah, everybody else calls them crabmen.
Everybody else is like, you mean the crabman? Like, if you say Carsoni, they're gonna be like, Carson? I don't know him. I am not sure who you're talking about. Is that Doug's kid? I think they're gonna be truly clueless.
And
I
now
like that.
in the real world, there are two specific groups of crabs. There's the Chelicarata and the Decapoda. That could be the two warring kingdoms of the Crabmen, and we could just call them that. For
So these are
funsies.
some of the logistical questions that we implied last time
Yeah.
that I want to answer. So number one, are there different crab peoples who vie and fight for territory, or are there the united crab and they fight back horrible sea abominations? Or is it both? Are resources scarce and so they war with each other and with all the others? Like, what? I'm just curious, in a world this dangerous, how do you support like imperial
Because
conflict?
they love fighting.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're like the warlike society, there's gonna be a schism at some point, regardless of the danger. And if that schism's big enough, two kingdoms that are just really geographically close, and so during the horrors will work together, and then during the non-horrors they'll just fight each other, I think makes sense. So I do think that two kingdoms, both alike in dignity.
Now wait though, because you've accidentally implied the thing that I like the best, which is the thought that it's like, Chitin must be sharpened on stone. And it's like, what do you mean? And they're like, when the season of blood is upon us and the enemy's attack, we are united, but we must stay sharp all through the year. The thought that they're like, we perform mutual approved war to keep ourselves sharp is so funny.
It's kind of like a high school rivalry, but with real death and blood involved.
Okay, so there is a season of defense. A season of defense. The horrors.
War.
Where they are united. And they need to be. It is, for whatever reason, there is this cycle where there is this time where they need to be united, they work together. And then in the other times, they refuse to allow themselves to dull. They refuse to allow their instincts to become dim and their claws to grow dull. And so the season of war follows, where they have voluntary lethal combat, where they go to war with each other to keep their pincers sharp.
Let's call them. Michael, go ahead, and I'll name this after.
I have a reason for why there's a cycle. The god here, half time is defending, and then the other half he's roaming the world.
Oh, having to pull double duty. That's pretty fun.
So we would just need to answer why he does not slumber with the others. Why does he stir? Is he the guardian at the gate? Is there a wall? But then there is also the god of the Crabmen, the lone lancer who emerges.
I was gonna say, not even that he actually roamed. It's that his power is strong where the Crabmen are most populous. But there are other crab people in the other cities of the world, and he is beholden to the pack to protect those places as well. So when he can choose to protect the city beneath the waves, or he can choose to protect the rest of the region with his power and his slumber. And so he has to cut that time. I think that that's how we keep him locked below.
Okay, I like it.
Now, the name for the period of war between the Crabmen, I would call the Revelry. If it's the horrors and the Revelry, I think it's fun. Because everybody else is like, oh, it's the Revelry. And everybody else is, don't go down there. Don't go during the Revelry. Don't go during the horrors. It's not as inviting as you think it is.
I love the idea. It's called the Revelry, and it is considered a beautiful and joyous time. It's like festival season for them. It's summer in a romance manga, but it's bloody, horrible combat for the whole thing. Where it's like, the Festival of Stars. Why do they call it that? Because we send our explosive. And you're like, whoa.
The glinting of the spears resembles the sky.
It is beauteous.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Good.
The season of blue, because lobsters bleed blue.
is there any
The
interaction
blue bloom.
other than the fact that Crabmen mercenaries are coveted for their... I like how with the Dragonborn in this world, thus far, the normal space that Dragonborn hold, we have given to the Crabmen.
Mm.
Yeah, true. The answer is absolutely not. Absolutely no. I think that if you can breathe underwater, you can go to their kingdom and they're not going to kick you out. They are going to hand you a spear and say, hey, there's a Leviathan coming. You better start stabbing it. But that's about all that they're into.
So basically,
They got their own thing.
the only contact they have, it sounds like, is occasionally a merchant will, take of the seaweed that you need to go down to speak to them, and will go down just to be like, I need to hire 100 mercenaries. And they'll be like, we will do it for blades of steel. And he's like,
Yeah,
okay, sounds good. That is so funny. The thought that it's like, they only trade in the things that you would need in wartime. And it's like, oh, what do they do during peacetime? There is no peacetime beneath the waves.
What do they do during peace? Simulate war. I don't. That's it.
All right. How do Crabmen need to? Do they need that water? If you play a Crabman, we know that dwarves need to sleep underground, which I find hilarious. But that's doable, right? Because we said that our dwarves also have a tunneling speed, so that's extremely easy for them. Do Crabman need water? It seems pretty limiting.
At least, I'd say at least once a week. Yeah, to be submerged.
Or is there a species trait that is create food and drink, and it's so they can douse themselves with water once per day? And it's like, yeah, that's just what I have to do. We all have the ability, we douse ourselves with it, and we're good to go.
By the power of crab. Yeah.
Just get rained on and they're good.
Okay, so let's say it's either weekly or daily plus spell.
Yeah, because I was thinking if it's weekly, use something with they have natural armor. It could be their not scales, but their carapace cracks if it's not watered.
That's fine.
So you lose that.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm into that. I think that we can say, because we're trying to move with some expediency here, I think that we can say that either we have two good solutions. It's either weekly and it's connected to their long-term health, or it's daily and every Carceri can just drop 30 gallons of water on their head in a pinch if they need it. I do think is extremely funny. Gamifying the D&D mechanic that way as being a survival thing is so hilarious. Okay. Like, we never bother explaining why drow can all cast darkness once per day. It's really funny to be like, because if they are not submerged in perfect darkness once per day, they die! It's so funny.
I like it because it makes it functionally useless. Yeah, you get it. Don't use it. You have to use it to drown yourself.
Okay, and then the other thing we know is just they are life is fighting. Like, there's not, I'm tempted to say, is their entire culture, how much of their culture is warlike? I don't think, the way that I would describe it as a GM is I would say the Crabmen don't have a concept of war because there's no such thing as not war.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a concept of what it means to be a fighter. Like, that's not, they won't understand that term when you say it to them because, like, the word for soldier and the word for person are the same word in the Crabman language. It's like, well, of what do you speak? I understand not. Like, the thought of somebody where it's like, oh, he's a soldier. They'd be like, what does that mean? I am not understanding. Some of your people cannot fight. Are they ill? Have they fallen under a stupor or some kind of poison?
Banish them.
I will say
their weakness may spread to the rest of you. You must send them into the wild.
Get them out.
They pose a
they probably
danger.
do. They probably do have like a shitload of specialty words for like specialty fighters, though.
Oh yeah,
Like,
we've got like horse riders. What's the like seahorse riders? They're
Cavalry.
cavalry. But for seahorses. Then they've got their heavy infantry, like
Yeah.
all that.
The thought, I'm sorry, but I'm so ready to write down the Carsonite Dragoon. The Carsonite
Yeah.
Dragoons. It's like, yup, yeah, they are. Hell yeah, they are. Because it's hilarious. They're super strong. And if you think about it too hard, you realize that their elite warriors are named the Crab Rangoons. And you're like, this is the best day of my life. This is the greatest day of my life. Okay, what absolutely nefarious. Why did this deity make these guys? And wait, we have a huge question. Were they warlike? We implied that there was a gap where the new god, where the 9 younger gods were making their creations, but the old god had yet to rot. And so the world was still relatively safe for a time because they hadn't yet to slumber. So we do need to kind of figure out what was going on during that little slice of time. Like, were they a peaceful people in the distant past? And now they are not? Is there this angle of, like, we fight that one day we may again enjoy the, or is it straight up? Or were they warlike the whole time?
This god being like a bastardized god of peace is really funny. To be like, I made these people to be defenders in the protectorate. Just for regular threats. That was their goal. And then this terrible plague fell upon the world. And now, the god of peace and his protectorate species have to go to war to enact that peace is a fun dichotomy on what it means to be peaceful.
I also like the idea, the thought of why would he make defenders. I really love the idea if this is the one of the 9 siblings who was like, our brother will return. What?
Yeah.
It's not over. And all the others were like, it's, of course, we see that his children have turned. He is dead. And he was like, he is not dead. He will return.
His children aren't dust, are they? They're
Yes.
still here.
They are not dust.
Yeah.
They wander. Yeah, and him being proven right in eventually is really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so defenders, our brother is not gone. And he was proven right shortly thereafter. So this is a god of, I really like that this is the god of peace and war.
Yeah.
He is both. He is all. He is each and every. Those who seek conflict pray to him. Warriors of great skill pray to him. Careful, decisive, what do you call them? Like, political negotiators also pray to him. He is the guy.
one
Yeah,
more.
that's awesome.
God of Forethought.
Him being called, them naming him that after the god of
Yeah,
forethought.
he earned it.
They're
He
like,
earned it.
he was, hey, can I say something? He was so right. Like,
We could spin it to be foresight instead of forethought because I think that leads a bit more mystic.
Mhm.
and I really like the idea that mystics and seers drink seawater. Like, they drink brine.
Callback.
My last character would love that.
Callback.
Yeah, they drink the water of the ocean to see visions of what may yet come to pass. And the thought, okay, I think that's really fun. What does this cat look like? Is he in the camp of, did he make his creations in his own image? Or is this an unconnected? Because we have a pretty good like 20-80 balance. Most of our gods do not look like the things that they made. A smaller portion do.
In my mind, if I were a god making my protectorate, the species that I believe might bring peace to the world, the antithesis to the sea creature of a crab, in my mind, is a jellyfish. If this is like no structure, slimy, floating about jelly, I think that that's fun for him to have made crab people as like the opposite of who he is, to enforce that.
I really like that because I specifically enjoy if their idea of the sort of far off nirvana that they are hoping that all of their combat will one day attain, the thought that the crabmen are like, we hope that through our constant struggles one day we may be soft like our lord. One day we will leave these shells behind and join him in squishy peace.
We may doff our armor. Yeah.
At last, and join him in diaphanous fluidity. It's really funny. I really like that. I love the image of this impossibly massive jellyfish with infinite arms that float and cascade. That is like, I have seen what will come. Our brother is not yet gone. He is dead, not gone, you fools.
My tendrils still feel his pulse.
Yeah! Oh, it rips. I feel him still in the waves, in the water. Yeah, no. All right, cool. We're actually gonna end the call right now and start The Party Makes Things Worse, where I play a Crabman. I can't do anything else. I can't think about anything else. All right, Spencer. I know you were wondering when you would be hoisted upon your own petard. It is time. The Hovermen.
No. I know you're asking yourself, hovering, huh? Yeah. Hovering.
Now, let's break down some really important elements of this that we need to start with, which is what the word hover means in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
The word hover means that if you knock them prone, they don't fall down.
Yeah, don't touch ground.
They just, like, spin wherever they are. And I do believe a hovering speed, that's all that means. A creature with a hovering speed can still go, like, infinitely up. It's just that when you hit it with something that would give it the prone condition, it just doesn't get the prone condition. It just stays up there like, ha!
That's not what I thought about with hover.
That's what hover means.
The infinite up piece.
Yeah. Only refers to a creature's ability to not fall when it's knocked prone.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all hover means.
Still flies.
I like the idea that we have some cloud giant ass, like, they are a people that flies. When do they touch the ground? Oh, God! Like, I like the idea that one of the people's species of this world don't have feet.
Yeah. I think that what we're making right now is sort of an air genasi. I think that that's really what we're cooking up. It could be giant-esque. We could do sort of like a Fearbold sort of spin.
No, that was just I just meant purely
the first image.
Live in cloud, stay in cloud. Like, the cloud is how they do it. What it specifically makes me think of, what we're finally stepping into. So, for those of you who don't know, Starfinder is the sort of sci-fi Pathfinder joint. And they have I think quite recently, Starfinder 2nd edition has hit the scene. My favorite thing about Starfinder is some of the species that you can play, the ancestries, I think is how they label them, that you can play, include, like, really different, in the sort of Spelljammer space. You have, like, floating brain men and jellyfish and 12-foot tall dragon dudes. There is a huge, like, spiraling version of what they can look like. So I like the idea that they might be air genasi. How much do they look like? Do we imagine these as just floating people with arms and legs? Or I'm tempted to say, if this is our hovering species, that these are like gibbering mouther, that these are like float. No. They don't have the equipment to land.
I'm off. Michael, go ahead.
What I think of when you talk about that, then, is from Adventure Time, Princess. I know
who you're talking about.
The lumpy space.
Lumpy
princess.
Space Princess. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what
Very
and her
fun.
whole people.
I'm taking sort of a
Ooh, but then what can they put on armor though? We get into some. We already have the crabmen. We already have some hurdles for putting on armor. Because just as a reminder, Spencer did describe those as lobster crab centaurs.
yeah, yeah, exactly. In my mind, I could see there being like an east to west wind and a south to north wind, and these creatures being like not created by that wind because it's a god. I guess the god could be that wind, but it buries itself underground. I'm getting a little lost in this, but there being two main winds,
Yeah.
could be interesting. And those two main winds having branching species, like subspecies within this, a la the like good fae and the evil fae.
Sealy on
in-
Sealy.
Yeah, Sealy on Sealy. That being sort of the analog in this world, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the cold cutting, the cold front, the cold cutting winds that move slow, and then the hot, tempestuous, the kind that would bring great thunderstorms and fury. I think is really fun. This kind of competing. I like angling them as being the sort of Fey equivalent almost. If this world doesn't have a Feywild, if these creatures are sort of what is associated with that. Is it a dude? Does it look like, is it 2 arms, 2 legs, head, body? What are we imagining when we see this? Because I could go in like 1,000 directions. My brain right now is going to bird people, number 1.
Big.
But that's not hovering, right? That's flying. The second is the sort of air genasi, like you were saying, the weightless, almost elemental kind of deal. And then option 3 is something a little bit more biological that has like air bladders and is like still looks like flesh and floats instead of landing. Those are kind of the angles we can go on here.
I think we go with 2 angles, and it's the second and the third, where it's people that float and have like no legs. It fades away into cloudy smoke. And the other being that biological creature being.
Really?
And those are the
I didn't think
two
we would be
different
splitting
ways.
between 2.
I think that it's fun to have it be that way. Because the god having 2 desires and only having a chance to make 1 race, and it being like, no, they're the same race, the same species when all the gods were creating their species. But it's like similar to the gobs and the hobs, where it's like, yeah, it's the same thing, but also they're really performing 2 wildly different like functions.
So we have
I think it'd be fun.
We have a more cloud-like, and then we have something that is a little bit more. I'm gonna write cloud-like and wind-like. And the wind-like are these more corporeal. I don't know if that's the right word, but they are quick-moving. Which one would we? I would weirdly associate that with winter wind. I feel like winter wind howls past your house. Summer wind kind of drifts by, but it drifts with like a thunderstorm in it. So number 1, I think some fun potential associations there. The wind-like being associated with cold, with speed, and these more cloud-like beings being seen as warm, and for some reason in my head, much more magical. Like, it's not that they're fast and competent, it is that they carry, because warm wind carries terrible weather. Like, that's what happens. The warm air fills the air with moisture, and that leads to big storms. That clashing does. So I like the idea that they are, Spencer, like you're saying, a little bit more biological looking, a little slower, but it is because they all have cantrips, and they are profoundly magical and defend themselves with like lightning storms. The thought that they don't fear floating in a storm in a way that the wind-like ones need to go above the clouds when those things happen. These things are like, there is nothing to fear, as they float and like are channeled by it somewhat. What else are we? Is there anything else jumping out at us here? Wind like, I'm getting sharp, angular, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm. The way they wear armor is their bodies kind of just pull it on via like vacuum suction. It pulls armor onto the body for the ones that don't have a form that would liken itself to armor, typically.
Okay. Now, what do they look like? I still want them to look at least 70% similar. Like 60 to 70% similar. Because we can't do the same bit again. We don't want to take what makes the Hobbs and the Goblin special and just go copy-paste. No. So, like, what is the visual difference? If you were to look at two of these things, if you're imagining, I think I can see what you're picturing for the wind likes pretty clearly, which is upper body relatively normal, and like it doesn't necessarily have the genie like floating cloud tail.
It's close to the genie thing.
It's just it goes to nowhere. Like it just
yeah
evaporates towards the base. They look like they are beings of vapor until you touch them and realize that their upper bodies are very real and can wear armor and are very physical. Now, the fantasy GM bastard in me is like, so what happens if you like shoot an arrow through the transparent part? Like, does that still hurt?
Only if it's magical.
If I were to take one of these things and I was to look up the airstream, what do I see? Like, what am I looking at?
Nightmares.
Do I see organs? Like, do I see veins? Do these things bleed? I've got questions, but we don't need to answer those right now.
For the other being, like, version of this being, I think that it could be same general composition, same arm to no leg ratio, but the flesh swirling more, where it's like you can't make out individual features at all. There might be like a tone and the way their voice sounds and whatever that does differentiate them, but you're not looking at them and going, oh, that's just the same thing. It's clearly different.
Okay. I like that. I kind of like that with the wind-like ones, we see them go from more physical to more air-like as they go. The other ones, it's all integrated. It's mixed in. They don't have that clean transition. This like roiling, almost biblical angel-esque, this like roiling, shifting, changing, where it's like, oh, that one's Frank. How do you know? You know, it's actually really hard for me to describe how I know. Like, I just
every 3.5 seconds you see that there's the little black spot there. There's that, and there's like 100 other things that just indicate.
Do these what do we name these boys? What do we name the winds?
Oof.
I mean, we can just call them my fantasy straight up the middle is they are windwalkers.
Yeah.
Or windborn.
They don't walk though.
Yeah, that's why they're the windwalkers. Because they were named by random people. Because their name in Windwalker language is the Ventrani, and it means the people. But everybody else calls them Windwalkers. Why? They walk on the wind.
Yeah. I think that works. I was thinking of like some sort of vortex name, not coming up with anything.
I'm happy to do anything else. That was literally, I was like, if this was a very generic, if I opened the page of any TTRPG setting, I feel like they would be Windwalkers. I feel like they'd have some shit like that going on.
Yeah.
The Cyclonics.
That makes them sound kind of warlike. We are the Cyclonic.
So, we haven't gotten into what they are. I was feeling like they are... People don't like these things in their towns, really. They are invasive.
This being the race that's kind of species that's kind of generally disliked could be fun. if they are like highly migratory and they move along the winds, when they come in, the storms follow. It's not even really that you don't like the windwalkers.
It's that they are a harbinger.
You don't like what's coming in 36 hours. And because they're there, you're in a bad mood, now you're a fucking dick to them. That makes sense.
We're getting into a weird spot with that, which is, well, number one, it sets up a problematic dichotomy. Number two, do they bring the weather? I'm nervous to make that true. Them being affiliated with those winds, I think makes sense, is interesting. I get DM stress when it's like, are they bringing weather? Do they control the weather? Do they need the weather to like, why would they follow the Gulf Stream? And so why would they harbinge a storm? Why would that happen? Starts to quickly... It's not, I think, I'm not shooting the idea. I'm giving it a soft, we need to investigate that more. Because I'm just not sure where that would... I have a hard time believing that it's like, oh, these are the guys that can fly anywhere, and a third of the time is everybody else. We don't trade with them. What the fuck are you talking? What do you mean you don't trade with the people who can instantly get you where you want to go, get what you want from where you want, whenever you want? That would be crazy. These guys should be economically alone, like the powerhouse of the world, because they are perfect explorers, perfect tradesmen. They can go anywhere, see anything, draw a perfect map, and give it back to you for $5.
Here's my pitch. Again, sort of pulling away from everything being mainly human. They are bird-like in their migratory patterns. They have almost no say in the biological drive, which is you ride this wind at this time and you go to this spot. The winds drag them and they are pulled along those winds, a la the magnetic field that birds use to fly south for the winter.
Sure.
That's these things. So successfully performing trade with them is really hard because they're like, where are you going next? And they go, I'm riding the winds, baby.
The logical next, how do we ever have an adventurer?
That would be...
If they are instantly, powerfully motivated to fly where they feel they should with no knowledge of where it is, how does a player ever play one?
I think that it's akin to a dwarf breaking beard. It's rare as shit. It goes against their instinct to do it. They have to have a drive to do something else, in this case adventuring, and they'll do it.
Okay.
It's just 98% of the population doesn't.
We like 70% of our species now refuse to interact with everybody, and we said the setup was that the cities were interconnected. I don't think I can keep you guys have chosen this with...
I love it. With make them hermits.
You've chosen it with the dwarves, elves, hobgoblins, and Carcini. The only species it is not true for is the changelings. I have to veto. It can't be true for these guys too. It can't be. The whole premise is supposed to be, right, that we are in like this industrial age and that these people have come together. They've settled in these cities. The reason the gods need to slumber is that they are protecting all of their various people. The Carcini god needs to split its attention for half the year. So that tells me, we've said that they never interact with everybody except for mercenaries. So already something we've made true about our world is that Carcini mercenaries aren't rare. That's what I was thinking, was that getting one was hard and that they were expensive. That can't be true. They need to be extremely popular and everywhere, and that needs to be how the Carcini make their money for that to work at all. The dwarves need to constantly be doing trade and going other places to get what they can't get underground so that can be true. And with the elves, too. So we're stretching the fabric of what we want the world to be every time we make that choice.
I'll cover two. The dwarves live below ground in the exact same cities. There's the city above them and them below. As far as the gods' coverage goes, dwarves are covered because they are here and here. It's just they don't interact with the
My point is just that we just can't keep doing that with everybody, because I gotta be real, it didn't make sense after the second time we did it.
Yeah, I'm reiterating a bit for viewers and for us. Dwarves live in the cities because they live below the cities.
Yeah.
Elves don't have any problem interacting with other people. They have a hard time interacting with themselves outside of their family units. So they'll stay close to other locations. Am I wrong?
We had them as staying in like their forested areas and warning you to not go any further into the areas where you might run into the ones that will hunt you for sport because to them you are just a deer.
I think that that's a fairly easy fix because I don't have any problem with saying the elves are fully involved in major society. It's the fucked up elves that don't do that.
Yeah,
And
we had them
these
as like
elves,
stately but untrusted because everybody knows that they influence your emotions by being present.
and I think that's the thing. They're involved. They are tucked into these major cities. It's just anytime they're like a politician, people are like, "Get a load of that guy. That's crazy. He's gonna influence us."
I think the version of this that I think we should do. My offer is the thing that makes, if we want these like cloud walkers to be a little bit difficult to deal with, I think if we want it to be that they are nomadic rather than having it be that they flock to places, we could just have it be that they are constantly on the move. They don't settle. They don't stay in one place. You're unlikely to make a long-term deep bond with one because they are very quickly going to move somewhere else, which gives us a reason for them to be everywhere. Every city has them in it. It's just you'll see one and you might not see it again for years. Like it might just be like, I'm in for 3 days. And then it just mercuries off. So I think that gives them the opportunity to be coveted as like carrier pigeons. Getting one as a messenger is great. The odds that it delivers your message and then never comes back, and you're like, you just have to wait to get the mail back to see if they responded, I think works. But it can't be
That's
the 5th
fun.
insular community that we've had.
I like the idea that there's several large groups of them that will land for periods of time, and then many, many, many individuals and small groups that land in a town for 2 weeks, land in another town for a month, land in one for 1 week, and they just go around location to location as well.
Because it gives them a very different bit from the dwarves. Because otherwise we have this weird thing where like the dwarves live below the city and these air guys live above it and they leave all the time. And it's, how do we ever have an adventurer, right? Was one of the questions we have. Is quickly answered by, they love to go everywhere all the time. They move around to different cities all the time. How do you have an adventure of one? It lets them go places all the time. It lets them go to things, see things they would never see, and go to a place they would never go.
That's cool.
So kind of a mercurial wanderers, but they are seen as flighty, literally. Flighty, and I'm trying to find the word for what I'm thinking here. I know people that are like this, where you catch up with them after 3 months and they're like, "Oh, I moved." And you're like, "What?" And they're like, "No, yeah, I moved." You're like, to a new apartment, different state, live in Oregon now. And you're like, "What? What do you mean?"
They are transient, like in the exact sense of the word. They move all over the world. They're never in one spot for more than a few months.
Now, do they build? Are there cities up there?
I don't think so. I think that they would probably build like smaller caravan, like flying caravan type things that they can commute upon and carry their things with. But that's it. There's not like a city floating.
Is the world sustaining that? Like, is that something that had to be invented later? Or are there plants that fly and trees that fly and a lot of flying? Does the world of Gaslight have an entire biome that lives its whole life in the sky?
I think it would make sense for them to do that. This god would probably create around their species.
Okay. We have made true the floating mountains. I'm all right with
Yeah.
this.
So basically, so there is this sort of, it's not like there isn't enough to do building materials or anything, but there is a biome to the sky. Like there are places you go where the sky is occasionally like quite cluttered with things and living beings.
There are trees that have a hover speed. Yeah, and they use those to make their bindles.
You're talking about caravans and stuff. All I can think of is like, it's almost like a kite caravan, where they just
Yeah.
they lay on that for sleep and stuff.
And what
And
that
this
does,
is, of course, where we get flying carpets.
and
so that
what
way
I
adventurers
like
have it.
is we've saved ourselves from the question of like, whoa, 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 whoa. So they can just hire people to carry them wherever they want to go. Because if it's like, no, the wood can float and they can float, they can carry like a normal person on their ship. And that's it. So having them carry a letter, easy. They'll do it. It'll be great. Having them carry goods,
Depends on what the good
expensive,
is.
depends on what the thing is. A ship with 150 people on it, it can't happen. They cannot
won't live.
accommodate that.
The wind can't pick that up. Sorry, not gonna
Yeah.
work.
Now, we talked a little bit about there being a sort of Seelie unseelie thing here. Did you imagine there as being conflict? Because that's sort of implied in the Seelie unseelie relationships, that they are antithetical to one another, right? Queen Titania and the Queen of Air and Darkness duke it out all the time. Is that a thing that goes on?
I'm enjoying this new creation we've come up with, and I don't think it works as well with the two subspecies Seelie unseelie. I would be happy nixing it, picking one of them, and that's just the species that we're interacting with.
So do we like the more profoundly magical, soft, floating figures, or do we like the cold, sharp, angular, sprinter, like Mercury, winged boots style?
I think the first, where it's more cyclonic, but I think that they should have the ability to form into a more featured face. It's just at rest, it swirls. And then if they focus on it, they can have more humanoid features.
So they almost look
appear.
like leaves caught up in the wind.
Yeah.
And then they can sort of constrict to make a shape that is easier to interact with.
And if you know them, you know their form either way.
Okay.
If you don't, it's hard for you to point one out in a lineup unless they make their face.
And I like the idea that the other form exists essentially to let them interact with the world. When they are a flowing being that is honestly mostly wind, they can't really interact with anything, but they can sort of crystallize, they can harden, and they can become a sharp, easier to interact with thing. Okay. And now, society? Like, it's very hard to understand what the social structure is like for something like this. Like, how do they interact with each other? What do they see as like a valuable job in the community?
I think that on like the macro scale, them being a series of like more of a tribal community where there are family units and slightly larger than family units that might all congregate once a year or once a decade. And at those congregations at the top of the floating peaks, they will like hold council, determine what's going on in the world, see if there are changes that need to be made. That's cool. On the smaller scale, they are mostly just going from city to city. They don't have a unified government in really any way.
Okay.
I'm thinking like high value stuff that they're thinking of is like they love people that are like biggest jack of all trades because of how flighty they are. The person that knows how to do the most stuff is their not their leader, but they're like the most important person.
The head of the caravan is the guy who can do everything.
Oh, yeah, so the sort of the yeah, I like that. Jack of all trades kind of deal. The Taskmaster, I think, is really fun. I do want to say, if we like the idea, if we want to keep this idea that they do have something that gives them tension with the other groups, something I could do is, they are a constantly on the move, extremely fast people that have very close family labels. I could see them being like, I've broken the law of your city. Goodbye. Whew.
They're gone.
The thought that it's
Yeah.
not that they are flippant in the face of the law of other cities. It's just that they don't really fit into it. Like, they can just immediately leave. If things get weird, if they do something wrong, they would have a little bit of a like, well, I don't have to follow your rules. I'm not from your world. Goodbye. And they're just gone.
In every way, they are not seen as dependable to the other species, it seems. Because if they do something wrong, they'll take off. You give them a letter, they're going to deliver it. You are not going to hear back. You're going to hear back in the regular post.
Yeah.
Because they're flighty.
It's almost the exact opposite of the changelings.
Where their
Where the-
entire thing is, look how
deep
beneficial
bonds
we are.
with people they see every day. These things are like, you're a wonderful person. I'll never forget you. Goodbye. And they're gone. And they're out. Like, wow, for real.
Exactly.
Weird. That is fun.
Then maybe you see them once 45 years later. Like, it's you, and you're like, what? Who are you?
You don't remember? That's pretty good. So let's talk about this divinity.
I liked where Spencer's going with. It's the wind that carries them. It's this guy's very translucent, hard to kind of see.
It is fun, I think, in a world where we have so many gods that are so real and physical. To Spencer, you kind of said it. The thought that one of the gods is the North Wind.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
it seems like it doesn't really fit with the rest of the pantheon. It's like, yeah, man, he's a trip.
That's how it goes. Is he buried with the rest of them? No. But he does protect the rest of them via the winds, via his species. The wind is everywhere, is the thing. It didn't need to put itself in a slumber to exert its will on the rest of the world. It's here and everywhere.
Okay. That's fun. What a weirdly different divinity to have. All the others took physical form. To have one god, or it's like, what makes them unique? And it's like, they never took a form. All the others, the dwarven god made itself one. The changeling adopted the forms of the others. The elven one is this like perfect apex predator. The wind is the wind. You never see it. You see what it does. You watch it move things. You feel it against your skin. You never see it. It doesn't have anything for you to see. You are always, it is in your lungs. You know it and have always known it, I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So is it what is it a god of? Does it have like a clean, is it the god of, because right, the stereotype easy version here is freedom, movement, travel.
Change.
I could see change. I could see like novelty or experience or something along those lines. There's something about if the humans appear and are doing something terrible and this god needs to help out the rest of the gods, that setting off the these beings' migratory sense and sending them to that location is pretty cool as well. So something about like responsiveness.
I mean, we could say, I'm looking at our divine lists here. Instinct isn't on any of our
Yeah.
lists here. Like,
you
is
go.
the god of change, travel, and instinct, the need to wander?
That's fun.
A teenager gets the feeling, starts to get the itch to go to a new place, right? They start arguing with their parents. We think that it's because teenagers are assholes, but in real life, it is evolution saying you should go somewhere with a different genetic profile with less competition. The thought that what you say about a teenager when they start to get that way in the world is like they have wind under their feet. Like,
Yeah.
the wind's behind them. What is that? Oh, Tom, the wind's behind him. I don't know what he's doing. It's like they're never
got
around the
caught
house
up in
anymore.
it.
They get into an argument every time I try to tell them what to do. The wind's behind them. I don't know.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It also
Ah, you
is our
Bellman.
favorite. I just wrote the wind, change, travel, instinct. Like,
Perfect.
that's about as much as we can get.
Doesn't have a name.
The wind's behind them. That's fun.
Does have a name. The Wind.
Yeah, true.
Difficult
And
to break.
these could be like windborn. The
Nice
god
born.
certainly didn't give them a name. Didn't tell everybody else what he named them.
You are whatever you wish to be, my child. Like,
They're born of the wind. They're windborn.
yeah, you pray to all the other gods, and a voice answers you. Well, we've already said praying to the gods gets you no response. You pray to the saints of the other gods, and you get a response. You pray to the wind, and a breeze lifts the edges of your coat. Like, it's like, oh damn, all right, ooh, okay.
Was that a wheel or whoa? Which one was that?
Who can say? You! You're supposed to. All right, we have 3 more. We've got 7 down, 3 to go. Let's get another idea on the docket. We've got time for at least 1 more.
We got hovering, which is really all I needed. I
Hover,
say we cut it and we're done.
hover was big. I mean, do we need more? So if we're trying to fit popular archetypes, which is maybe not always the best idea, but if we're trying to go from popular archetypes rather than first principles, right? First principles would be come up with a cool idea, we'll figure it out from there. Or we could start with sort of the divinity. If we're going by archetype, we don't have a dragonborn yet, and we don't have a halfling yet.
We kind of have a Dragonborn.
The crabs.
Do the Carcini fill that role? Do we not have?
Kind of.
I like that. I'm fine with that. Okay.
I think it fills it.
We don't have a sort of halfling gnome space occupied. It's kind of taken up by the goblins a little bit. So maybe we just want to say we don't have it because it sort of double dips over there.
Mhm.
We don't have giants in any capacity. The elves are the closest we have.
Yeah. How giant is a giant? Can you play one? Are they
I mean,
8 feet tall instead of 20?
yeah. I think they're like Goliath size. They're not, giant.
Not true
size.
giant.
So we like the idea. So we want to have ones that are. We want to have a larger group. Right? We want to have one that is on the larger side, which I also love because that means the Carcini are not gigantic, which I think is really cool. The
They're
Carcini,
sized.
the
Yeah,
Carcini,
they're big, dude, but
the Carcini not being 10 feet tall is extremely funny. If they're these deeply warlike creatures and their average height is 5'6", I think that's really funny. Maybe they're like
Am
6'5"
I crazy?
or whatever.
For picturing sort of a Brooklyn accent on the Carcini, now that I know they're 5'6".
I think that's a natural instinct, is to see somebody who wants to fight and is short and to sort of put them
New
put
York.
them somewhere in the Northeast. I think is a natural state. It's so cold, it brings it up in you.
It makes you hateful.
I'll say Brambles in our chat asked a question. And I was thinking about it too a little bit. Have you done any crystalline species? We've not yet.
The dwarves are our closest because they're sort of stone.
They
and-
return to
They're
the stone.
stone.
Yeah.
So
They have
we're close.
stone
I
flesh
will-
skin that turns the rest of the way on the way out. I kind of like the idea of having a sort of almost harmonic, like vibrational crystalline creature. I think is really fun idea.
Yeah, the thought I was having was I always bring it up because I think it's a cool idea. I never remember the names, but the glass dogs, the mirror dogs from horror.
Hounds of Tindalos?
Yes, them like a being like that. in form and structure.
I was about to say we don't have like a fungus guy, but we do. The elves fill a very, very similar role.
So
So giant.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What makes
I think we call them giants in this world. That's straight up their name, but they are like 8 feet tall.
5'6".
They're comparatively giants. It's just not giants in the way that most fantasy.
This is a really
kids.
important note. There aren't humans. So
True.
to all of our minds, we're like, oh, but like that's not that much taller than 6 feet tall. Hey, I'm looking at the list here.
5, 6.
Like, humans aren't present. We only see them as the omens. Dwarves, shorter race. Changelings, formless. Elves, we have described as tall, thin, bark-like. They would look very different. Hobgoblins and goblins. Hobgoblins are maybe tall. The Carcini, we're imagining a little smaller. The Windborn, you can't really tell. The giants being 8 or 9 feet tall might make them shatteringly, toweringly huge. Like, that might be them gigantic.
The elves are the next tallest race, and they're like 6'6", which is huge until you see a giant.
Yeah, it's that we are imagining this all on the spectrum that we imagine. It's not. The tallest elf is 6'6". The shortest giant is 8 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly. Tallest maybe 9'4".
So what do we like about giants? What are some traits of giants that we like? In D&D, they're often very elemental. They're often very, connected to the elements in nature. That position's really occupied right now. I don't think we should do that
we're not doing
with them. So what defines them? What makes them different and interesting?
When I'm picturing a giant, I do picture a fumbling oaf. We can't make an entire species fumbling oaf. So that we have to take a step back on, unfortunately. But I do picture very strong, which we don't really have covered. The crab folk are warlike and great fighters, are not physically powerful. And that's an angle that these things are taking that I don't think anything else had. These are big-ass dudes that are just strong. My issue is making them not too human. They could be, because we don't have... If this god saw humanity and said, I know what's going to make better humans, bigger will do it, and this god's just not very creative.
I don't want us to feel the need to sort of go that way. What else can make giants really unique and different? Like, Michael, you seem to have a thought.
Yeah, of course just a little bit on dwarves, but I think it's unique enough. They're like the forge masters. Their strength and stuff, and let them be a little more heat proof or heat resistant.
We're making sort of cyclopean
creatures
at that point.
I just want to make sure we didn't do that with dwarves. I thought dwarves had the god of crafting, of focusing on one craft.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we have forge crafting and devotion specifically as the machine god's 3 tenets. So, unfortunately, occupied. Strike. I like the idea that there is this striking, forceful. Do we have athletics occupied anywhere? I don't think so. So I think an interesting way to give them that is it's not about giants being defined by, it is not about what you make. It is about how you make yourself. Like, giant culture being truly like a deeply fitness culture where it is like, we do not carve stone. We carve our bodies. Like, I think it's an interesting angle to take as people that are really in that. And I think it gives us, if I had to say how I would want them to look less humanoid, I think it's really easy to just keep going in that direction until you hit, I don't know how to put this. No, the official art, I can imagine when I want to describe it. I don't know if we can use it on the thing. The official art by Chaosium for Ithaquah, for like the god of the wind. I'll drop it. I'll drop a picture in the chat on my phone. But if you search, I think it's Ithaquah, them, and it's like bony protrusions, and like there's a vaguely humanoid shape, but they have this like extra rib and structure, and some of their bones sit almost outside, them having a kind of different perspective on it.
Do we?
Ooh, I accidentally just moved Michael's picture around. He's running around.
If we want to add or take away a little bit of the or a little bit of the humanistic view, we could take the head off, face on the chest,
Face on the chest, big move.
and the saying you're a head taller or anything like that doesn't really make sense for these.
We did that for the god. We did that for the god of the hobgoblins already.
We did. Dang it.
You're welcome, guys. Here, I'm just gonna drop the picture in the chat of the art that I'm referencing.
Face on the hands.
Now, here's physicality aside. I think that the giants are.
I dropped it in our text messaging chat.
Oh, I see.
So if you're at home, just look up Ithaquah for the Call of Cthulhu thing. Obviously, we are not intruding on IP, but this is what I imagine when I imagine humanoid, but profoundly non-human.
And that just like 30% less really scary to look at with my eyes.
And we can just veto that, but that's what I imagined.
No, I like it. I think the mouth will just be more of a normal mouth, and everything else stays basically
A little bit less
like that.
absolutely horrifying to the core.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah, the only problem with that is I don't envision like peak strength when I see that. I envision big.
I was just saying as a different way to handle physicality. A different way to handle the arrangement of bones and limbs, so that you're like, it's humanoid, profoundly not just a big person, not just a big human.
Now,
I
here's what
gotcha.
I'm thinking for giants. I think that they are deeply involved in the daily goings-on of every other kingdom that they get in. They are incredible laborers. They are very talented smiths. They are like second best warriors. If you can't get one of the crab folk, you would love to hire a giant
It's
on
so
for your
funny
personal guard.
to be like, to say as canonical, like the 8 to 9 foot tall people are not as good at fighting as the Carcinoid.
Sorry, they're not. They can hit harder. They will hit less often. And that's just the way it goes.
I like the idea that a dwarf craves to have a place in society and to have a job that they focus on, and something like, I make swords and I will make swords every day. The thought that the giants just have this deep and abiding need for labor, like for a giant sits still when it is sick. End of list. It is uncomfortable for them to not be moving.
That's fun.
Other thing I would like with the physicality, they have their own like Greek Olympics once a year.
Oh yeah.
Our own version of Zorvental, but instead of dragons, it's giants. For those listeners at home who don't know what Zorvental is, first of all, shame on you. Second, it's like years spanning reality chess game between the dragons of the world that just use people and other creatures as pawns. And it's about amassing the greatest hoard and stealing from the other dragons, so the dragons don't go to war with each other. This is how they get that aggression out, is via these terrible, awful games. It's called Zorvental. I love it. It's one of my favorite things in D&D lore. But I think it is more Olympic based for the giants. They're not making like gobs do javelin.
I mean, who knows?
Hey, sometimes maybe they make gobs do javelin.
I'm going to text another picture that's rifling through my head. You guys have got me just running through the pop culture roller decks. This is younger Toguro from Yu Yu Hakusho, another character that is meant to be so muscular that they are no longer a human.
Yeah.
So we like the idea that they have great, incredible athletic ability. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are born warriors. There is probably an element of them maybe, sprinting the triathlon didn't make it into this version of the Olympics. Instead, it's a little bit more like caber toss, stone hammer throw.
Power burst.
I think is really fun. They are humanoid, but very different. Humanoid, but not human. There is something, we'll figure out what it is a little bit more as we continue, because we're running pretty low on time. Not human, and I'm just going to write structure. I like the idea that there is not as much difference. If they have this deep love for attuning themselves and becoming strong in these ways, I like the idea that it's two giants aren't going, like, the height range on giants is within a few inches. Maybe there isn't that much to set you apart other than your physicality, like the way that you have attuned yourself to those things. I think might be kind of interesting if there is a little bit less, I don't know, what's it called? Like a little bit less diversity of appearance. If maybe it is a narrower band is one of the first things that pops into my head. It doesn't need to be that way. What do we think?
Every giant is 8'6", period.
Exactly 8'6".
I'm not super married to that, so I will probably change that in the future. That's just the first thought that popped into my head. So what is their society like? What is this athletics obsessed, labor obsessed? I'm almost seeing them as, if our dwarves are all about like expanding beneath the ground and honing their craft and getting better, I almost imagine the giants with their love of labor and fitness and doing things as being the kind of people that make Mount Rushmore, like the kind of people that are like, we have carved the side of this mountain. Like, what are we going to do? Like, their cities are massive, larger than they could ever need to be. And it's like, oh, why is it? Whoa, hundreds of giants must live in this village. There are 31 of us. What? You could easily fit twice that many. We got really bored. We built extra houses.
We just got to do something.
Yeah, I definitely think high camaraderie. I think, this is probably where a lot of people go.
I like, there's almost
That's
a
fun.
Ghost of Christmas Present vibe that we're leaning into, like the "and know me better man," like this very, very boisterous outward. What if Teddy Roosevelt was as tall as he acted?
The idea that when you investigate ruins as an adventurer, it's 50-50 odds. 50% of the time, it's human ruins from thousands of years ago. The other 50% of the time, it was a clan of giants from several hundred years ago who made a crazy encampment, and now you're going to go rifle through their ruins. And it's going to be crazy impressive. And there's so much stuff in there because they're just doing stuff all the time. And that's just what you might find. One of the two.
It's really interesting. I like the idea of, it's funny because we've leaned a little bit towards the like Forge Master of it all, but it's very different. It's not, I'm going to master the blade and be an unparalleled talent. It's, I must, always at motion, always on the move. I almost like the idea that they're like sharks. Maybe they can't. They cannot stop. They will die. Like, it is bad for them physically. It is bad for their health. They need to keep moving. Their hearts only pump if they keep moving. Rest for them is not comfortable. Do these boys sleep?
I was going to say, these could be our race that don't sleep. And that's another reason why you'd want them as
It's so fun.
bodyguards or laborers, because they're there. They're not going to bed.
It's fun.
Can I offer, we haven't been doing too much. We said we wanted to avoid beings that lived a super long time. Can I offer that giants only live to be like 50?
Yeah.
And that's why they don't...
Twice the amount of hours, half the amount of life.
Brambles said the Jimmy Carter vibe to them.
Yes.
I definitely know enough about Jimmy Carter to get in on that joke. The Peanut Man, right? Is that anything? Is he the guy with the peanut farm? That is so interesting. So then what is the divinity that made these unsleeping constantly moving. This feels to me like the creation of the youngest brother.
Yeah. Supposed to be friends. But not in the way the changeling wants to be friends. A very different vibe.
I think this is a huge. I know, for me, it's the changelings' offspring want to make friends. The giants are friendly.
Yeah.
They're friendly to whoever shows up. They aren't going to pry. I feel like a changeling. You meet a changeling, sit down at a bar. You've known each other for 5 minutes, and they go, "That's great. How did you get along with your parents? What?
Yeah.
Tell me. Give me
Can
the
be off-putting.
details."
The giants aren't off-putting.
A giant sees you carrying something that looks too heavy and goes, "Where are you going?" And you go, "I'm going 4 miles away." And they go, "Okay.
So am I.
I suppose as am I." That's a really fun angle.
Yeah, the youngest of the gods, I think, is fun. This god saw... Did we already do a youngest?
I think we did.
We
Who was it?
had said that the youngest was the one that got decapitated.
Well, the youngest... Oh, wait. Yeah.
And split. So we could say that this is, the second born.
One of them, yeah. Seeing the creations of the siblings. Oh, yeah, the youngest went first. I think this god went last.
Okay.
And saw everybody else make their creation. And said, "That's cool. I'm going to make a creation that helps. I'm going to make the creation that makes all of your creations have a better time at life." And that's what this god made.
I like the idea of this I think that maybe we might have said it before. If we've said it before, too bad. I almost like the idea that this is the second eldest and that they they froze. Everybody else started making things and they froze. They couldn't decide what to do. They wanted to help, and they spent so much time helping all the others that eventually part of their myth is, and when all the others had been born, when the other 8 had come, they turned to their sibling and asked, "But what have you made for the world? What now will you make?" And they could only think to make something that would help, and so they made the giants. Is really good. That they are...
That's what we're cooking with.
Yeah. An
The
inborn need to be helpful. I love the idea that a giant becoming like a bandit is the greatest sacrilege imaginable. It is unfathomable that it would be so. That's it.
I think that's perfect. So second oldest, the last to create. Because the youngest was the first to create and got cut in half. Hilarious.
Okay. What is this god the god of, and what do they look like? Obviously, sort of assistant, like the god of aid, the god of help, the god of assistance. Aid, athletics.
Aid, athletics.
I like that because it's muscle to purpose. This is the weirdest deep cut imaginable. There's a scene in Bleach, the manga, where one of the characters, who I think's name is Chad, is just this huge dude, and he's like, it's heavily implied like he was born already huge, and he was like very big and muscular from the time that he was young. And there's this huge thing where his grandfather, he used to get in fights all the time, and his grandfather was like, "Why do you think God gave you such big hands? Why do you think God made you strong? Do you think he made you strong to fight? He made you strong to help others." Like,
That's these guys.
yeah, it's weird. It's just if I had to guess where in my head, what pulls you to that? It's sort of in that wheelhouse. Aid, athletics. Is there another facet to this
Instruction.
gem? Movement. Like, what is this like? The need to move, the need to build, the need to create, to never sleep, to burn the candle all the way down to the base, and to die young, full of
There's
purpose.
like a perseverance thing that I'm seeing there. That in this species would be that, but for others it would be like, I'm going to burn the candle on both ends. I'm praying to this god to see me through it. in a temporary sense. Whereas for them, it's like, no, I'm persevering through the entirety of my life to do these great work.
I like the idea of somebody who is working on something, you know, a student trying to complete their master's thesis prays to this god to get me through the night.
Mhm.
Like, let me have the stamina I need to keep working.
Yeah. A writer doing their second draft for the next 6 months where it's like, I already fucking did it. I already wrote the damn book. I don't want to keep doing this.
Yeah,
but they have to.
You pour a mug of coffee. You offer a prayer to Giantasmo, and you go.
That's the
Let
name.
me
Write it down.
give me another 3 hours of wakefulness. A guard falling asleep at their post. They don't pray to the god of war. You pray to this god. You say, "Let me use some of what I am to make it a
Now
little
the
longer."
idea that the gods have charms made with their power, and one of them is like a wakefulness charm, and it's from that god, so these guards would wear a wakefulness charm, is really cool. Each of them having something like that. Interesting.
We actually
Rambles.
we had not thought about going through and naming all of these divinities as much. We really backseated that.
Whoops.
And we're gonna have to go through and no, we did. When did we stop doing that?
Today.
Yeah, we have the machine god Olivine. We have we didn't say what it is. Yeah, we have Eska as the elven god.
Yeah.
Crab divinity doesn't have a name. Let's set that to the side. Maybe we'll, with our last like 3 minutes here, maybe we'll have to go through. We have the wind, so we did name one of them today. And then the changeling. And yep, Karzrak is the collective name of the head and body
Yeah.
separated from one another. And then does our changeling god have a name?
So.
Let's see.
Oh, it was
Thea.
for the theater.
Oh, true.
Yep.
So it was just today.
Yeah,
Michael
so that's
got
okay. Bramble said, the Giants, it sounds like a Sisyphus thing, but wholesome.
Wholesome Sisyphus.
Yeah, Sisyphus,
Imagine
but he
Sisyphus
found
happy.
joy in
It's
his
like,
work.
no, we know Sisyphus is happy.
Imagine a giant sad is the flip here.
He also said Giants becoming bandits would be like the people that get gold into helping a getaway vehicle.
Yeah, it would have to be like, oh my god, he became a bandit.
What
Why
was
are you
that?
doing this? And he's like, my best friend from childhood fell on hard times, and it's all I could do to help.
What have you? The thought
Dang.
that a giant gets hired as a mercenary and they don't realize until it's done that they've just robbed a caravan, and the giant's like, "What have you done? What have you made me? I am now doomsworn. No,
No!
I think is really fun. Okay, so let's. What does this god look like? And let's throw a name on this guy.
I think this god made these creatures more in his image.
This is one of the few. Yeah, I mean, okay, hear me out. This god can be that Itlishwa style, really upsetting to look at giant,
Yeah.
and its beings could be those like muscular, beyond the point of understanding, like being. But it is like that, just like really fucked up to look at. 120 feet tall, muscles that warp into more muscle.
And I-
Smile on his face.
I think weirdly, I think the two gods we came up with today maybe are thick as thieves. I like the idea that this jellyfish that said our brother will return, and this other god that is like, we must help each other, we must be ready. The thought that it gave itself a form to stand against what might come, in the way that the jellyfish created things too. The thought that maybe our second and third eldest are those two. And that
Yeah.
they were
know
the ones,
threat.
They were like, the threat will come again. They were the ones that, couldn't, the watchers at the wall kind of vibe they couldn't get away from. Now, 2 names, and then we're done with stream. What do we name this maker of giants? This very friendly, athletic, perseverance and purpose, a god of those who burn bright but briefly.
The first name that I had was Wick because of burning a candle on two ends, but that would be him proceeding. Well, no, I guess they could
Hey man,
call Wick
it's
after
floaty.
him.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. It's fantasy.
Yeah,
We
Wick.
can hand wave. And we can just say that Wick is short for like Wickarion or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was actively typing out Wickarion, so that works, and they call him Wick.
Crab god.
Cool.
Yeah, and now let's quickly, real fast, name that crab. Name that jellyfish.
Jellyfish, yeah, crab
A
god.
jellyfish of foresight, peace, and war.
Something about the foresight is grabbing me the most. I feel like that's the thing that it would be named for.
Yeah, the peace and war are kind of secondary.
Yeah.
The knowledge to... I like the idea that it is, may the god of foresight guide my hand. May I know if I am at peace or war. Because how often do you not? How often do you think you are at peace and your enemies move against you? And how often do you think you are at war when the conflict is already over? You have just yet to notice. I think is interesting. So leaning into the foresight. A seer. Visionary.
I've pulled up some words related to foresight, and synthesis is grabbing. Synthesizing, like synth. Something about bringing down all the realities into what is the truth. All the things that it sees and notices.
Yeah.
The only thought I have is, and because it feels like it'd be a jellyfish name almost, in Prima, and be like premonition.
Prima is.
Yeah, premonition. Premonition, Prima. I'm trying to think of what the intersection is between these two things. It's not just seeing what will pass, it's seeing what will pass and then acting upon it, right?
I mean, there's like Premonethus, which would be distilling down the truth of the futures.
Search that really quick. I like it.
Yeah,
But give that
that's
a
one.
Google in case it's the name for a venereal disease. And I have that as
Nope.
Premanethis, Premonethis.
I have Premonethis.
So Premonethis.
Yeah.
I
So
like
it's
it.
Premonition. And nothing. Prometheus comes up. That's the closest
Yeah.
name.
Premonethis and Wickarion, the eldest, is
Yeah.
pretty good. And I also like the idea that as we get younger in the pantheon, we get kind of more whimsical. I think is interesting. Like the burden of feeling like the thought that the eldest two, the second and third eldest, feel terribly burdened by purpose because the youngest got cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I think is good. Okay, we know that we want some kind of crystal, and then we have one more blank spot. So next stream, we are probably going to be a wrap on the beings of this world, and from there we will discuss off stream if we want to continue and start naming cities, or if it's time to wave goodbye to this world and move on. With that, thank you all so much for watching. We're picking things up in the new year with a new schedule, a couple of things that you can be looking forward to here. Of course, as always, you have our Sunday and Tuesday streams. Our Sunday stream, Game Masters, Masters of Games, and then Tuesday, DM Writers Room. And then you can catch videos on our channel every other Monday. That is going to be this coming Monday. You'll be able to catch the first of those. We're hoping, we're a bunch of people with full-time jobs. The streaming alone takes up a lot of our time. We're hoping to move to weekly at some point, but we're going to see. We're going to see. We have some interesting stuff in the works as far as being able to pick up the adventures and things that we come up with here. Obviously, last year, a little bit hectic, a little bit busy. We had a lot of irons in the fire, but we're moving on to, if you want to go back and watch, I'm currently working on Mirror World, which is kind of a hoot behind the scenes. So sometime in the next 10 months, you can anticipate being able to take a peek at that, which should be huge. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.